Yo, what's good YouTube? It's your boy JJ on Play here. Today we're back with another video. We're going to be reacting to teen millionaires versus minimum wage workers. If you're new to this channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let's go ahead and hop straight into this video.
How much do you really want it? Because I know that the people who really want it make it happen because they're just out here grinding every second of the day.
There are so many people that work so hard and they are where they're at and they can't get out of that. They aren't able to. They don't have like the resources to be able to get out of that.
It's not about working hard because that's so vague. It's about, I genuinely think, how much do you really want this?
This is going to be good.
Welcome back to Middle Ground. I'm John, the host of Radical Empathy. I will be moderating today's discussion between teen millionaires and minimum wage workers. We had 2 dropouts today, so our cast is all female. Our first prompt.
This is going to be great.
If you work hard, you'll be rich. Agree or step forward?
I agree.
When I think about hard work in my brain, it genuinely goes to janitors, fast food workers. That is a grind. That is hard work. Well, I genuinely do not consider hard work, but I want it so bad.
I lift 100 to 120 pound dogs into the tub. And then after I'm done washing them, I lift them back out onto the ground. It's hard
That's
work.
like a warehouse
You got to
worker.
be dedicated, and you got to love what you want to do.
There's working hard physically, like doing physical labor, and then there's working hard in consistency, and then there's working hard with intelligence, like working smarter, not harder is kind of the term people use.
Are these people really teenagers? Unless they're like 19, 18, 19.
But I think a lot of people are consistent because they kind of are forced to be consistent. You kind of have to wake up and do what you got to do because you have bills to pay and a life you want to live. But a lot of people are working consistently and staying in the same place versus okay, my game plan is I'm going to work hard at this so that I can get to this position, which will take me to here, to here, to here. And I don't know, I think when you have the ability to conceptualize what that looks like for your long-term state, then that's where the working hard does lead to you being rich in several areas. But I think a lot of people are consistent in their work, but that doesn't mean they're actively trying to get out of being in the same financial position that they are.
And I feel like a lot of it has to do with risk. If you have this grand idea or you want to do this, you can't.
Wait. Slide thing. So if 2 people dropped out, would that mean it would have been 2 dudes, potentially 2 dudes and 6 women? Because that's still a crazy ratio.
You can do it, but
that
it's
means
gonna
woman on top. Shout out to the woman out there.
take a lot of risk, and that's really scary for a lot of people. And if you want it, for me, I started multiple businesses, and when I did, I had to pour a huge chunk of money, and that's such a risk. For example, I bought a nail salon, and it failed. And I poured so much money into that, and then I just had to, all right, buy money, throw it down the toilet. So you have your wins, you have your losses. I've had my losses and I've had my wins, and that's just kind of how it goes.
No risk, no reward.
All right, bring in our disagreeers.
I wonder why they disagree.
I feel like the statement that you made about it's how bad you want it, I feel like I could say I know so many people that want to get out of where they're at and they want to so bad, but they can't. And it's just hard for them. And immediately what comes to my mind is my parents. And then that goes hand in hand with they became parents. They can't just stop doing what they're doing. They can't, my mom is a preschool teacher and my dad is a contractor. And my dad's the smartest person I know. My mom's the most driven person I know. And they both could do so much more with what they are the gifts that they've been given in life, and I know they could work so much harder. They want it bad, more than anybody else to be out of where they're at, but they can't. It's just they just can't stop. And you're mentioning, you bought a nail salon and it tanked. And
I'm trying to think about what she's saying, because having a child is expensive. You gotta always cater to them. I'm a believer in once you have a kid, your life is now about that kid, because you're bringing somebody into this world. Everything's not about you. Even when you're born, I feel like everything is still not about you. But for example, she said her dad's a contractor, her mom's a preschool teacher. It's at that point, you gotta determine what rich means to yourself. You could be, mentally rich, whatever you want to call it. But like, if she's a preschool teacher and she's like, I want to make this amount of money and be rich and do the things I love, there's nothing wrong with that. But if she's saying she's trying to get out of her position and she's continuing to work as a contractor teacher, then, you know, you're working hard. You're just not working hard where you need to be working hard.
Sorry to hear that.
Okay.
But like, we don't, like, our family wouldn't have had like the money to just let that fly out the window. Like they
Yeah.
couldn't
Right.
take that risk, because if they take that risk, we're done.
Yeah.
Like we don't
Yeah,
have that
for sure.
sort
And the
of,
good thing about it is, sorry for pausing again. The good thing about it is when you do have a kid, I mean, for her, if she's a teenager, she has her life to, if she wants to give back to her parents, she could then, you know, if her parents is paying all the bills, she live with her parents, whatever, she could, you know, rent free, whatever, and then use that money to then become successful. Because a lot of parents are like that, where they're willing to, you know, pay for a lot of their children's expenses and let their kids save their money and build up college, things like that.
resource to be able to even jump into that.
Do you think that, to piggyback kind of off what you were saying, do you feel like your career and life being able to hit its absolute potential stops at having kids?
No.
No.
I'm just saying like that for like my parents specifically, because they came to my mind and I was like, what are things that are stopping them? And that's the fact that they're parents, and that my mom's like is like a very nurturing like mother. Her number one goal is like she wants to see her kids succeed, so she'll never sacrifice herself. Yeah, she's never gonna like stop like caring for us so that she can do what she wants to do. Like she's sacrificing herself for us. And so like I talk to her all the time about like, Mom, like you could do so much more. Like you can, you know, like she wants to like, her little dream she's been up is she wants to like decorate cakes and stuff. And like she is so good at it. And she like has a little like folder of all these like ideas. And I'm like, do it, like just do it. But she can't, because she works like every single day at school. Like she's a teacher. She's there from like, what is it, like 6:30, 7 a.m. to like 6 at night. She's there at the school, and she doesn't have
For a preschool? God, like, what is she doing at a preschool where you... I'm not trying to make fun of her. Sorry, but I mean, I understand for like elementary, middle school, high school, okay. Maybe elementary-ish, depending on what grade. But like, what could she... Did she say preschool teacher? I know I'm not tripping, but like, what could you possibly be doing for 12 hours? I didn't go to preschool, so I don't know. My brother did.
time to do that. And then when she's not there, like she's trying to help me or my brother. And like, it's just like, that's her role. And then my dad is working every single day, all day.
Yeah. Do you think that somebody's absolute best period in their life to pursue their goals and dreams is before children or before marriage? Like, do you think it's when someone is one in themselves and doesn't, or just like for all of you, kind of that question?
I mean, I think it can like happen before you have children. Seems to me to be a good time to really try to pursue, because you don't have other things that you're worried about and like tying you down to like deal with. And like, so like that's obviously like I want to get done with all of my schooling, get a job, everything before I get married, before I have kids, because that just seems like it's gonna hold me down. I'm like, I can't like even think about doing that right now.
I don't think marriage is going to hold you down. Having kids will hold you down for sure. Because again, when you have kids, you got to take care of that kid for at least, depending on the type of parent you are, at least 18 years. Unless, because some parents be like, oh, you 18, you got to pay rent, or you got to get out. Weirdos. Marriage, I feel like when you married, you know, usually depending, like the parents might pay for it or whoever might pay for it. But I feel like once you're married, you kind of work more together and you actually have a reliable, like, right-hand person to do it. When you're not married, you don't really have that. It's kind of like finding a person here and there.
Oh, but I mean, there's obviously the cases where people be super successful after, like that. I mean, what, like 40s, 50s, wherever they're at, like, and they've already had like 3 or 4 kids, whatever. But I don't know. I don't really hear about too many people that have that many like young children that are really like successful. I feel like it can happen a lot before, and maybe once they're out from under your wing.
I don't think that people are willing to take that risk when they have a child, especially because you're bringing an entire human being into the world. So, and it's just like you hear it from every person who's like a new parent or just like a parent in general, is that their entire mind and everything has changed. Their entire world
always
has
hear
changed
that,
because
yeah.
they have this new human being, and of course they're not going to want to pursue something that is so rocky and like take a big risk when they have such a valuable asset. Not to call a child an asset, but you know what I mean. So
Those are some interesting
I
glasses.
think it's just
They look nice.
taking risks. People aren't going to take them as much
wonder
as
what
they
kind of
have
glasses
children.
Because your failure is their failure in a sense.
Yeah, like you can
well.
completely ruin their entire life if you like really mess up. But I think the reason why I stayed back is because I think I have seen so many hard workers in my life and their work just not be propelled. I feel like a lot of people have luck on their side when they have success, and that doesn't necessarily, like when people take risks, there's always a bad outcome. Like I am so thankful that you were able to share your story about your nail salon. Apologies, but there are more stories that don't get out like that because there are so many like failed risks, and we don't hear those stories a lot. And those people can be the hardest worker you ever know, and their work just, doesn't take them anywhere.
I don't know. I feel like what she's saying does make sense if we could acknowledge that, but like, I think it just depends. Like they say, luck is when opportunity meets preparation, and I feel like it has to be like a time thing. Like if she dumped a bunch of money into a nail salon and bought a nail salon, maybe she either didn't have the lack of knowledge, or she didn't. The time was bad. Maybe it was during COVID. Who knows? But like just stuff like that, the principles of that, I feel like you have to do it at the right time. I don't feel like none of that is really lucky necessarily. Like you don't just dump a money into something and be like, oh, I've made a bunch of money back, unless you like a weirdo, not weirdo, but like a crypto person where you just dumping money and random stuff and somehow get lucky. But you still have to have some kind of knowledge on that.
It's important to remember though that some people's goal is to be a mom.
Right.
My mom, for instance, she loves being a mom. She'll do anything for her kids. I call her about the most minor inconveniences. And she's like, she said what? I'm on my way, So it's like, I think for my mom specifically, she's not upset that she can't do both, that she can't chase her dreams and be a mom, because being a mom is her dream and it's enough for her. So I think it's not really a negative thing. My belief is like, it's not about working hard, it's about working strategically. And when I started and I was doing the events, that was working hard. It was a lot to stand up for 8 hours and continuously pitch to people, and it's tiring and it's exhausting, and that's working hard. But I had a cap on the amount of sales I could make because there's only a certain amount of people at the events that you can sell to. And so I thought, okay, let me try to work strategically. So I started a website so that I don't have to be limited to how many people I can reach, and that allowed my sales to grow. So I think like sometimes we think we need to work hard, but sometimes it's like you need to think of a strategy that will be able to push your sales or your clientele or whatever it is, so that you're not always working for 9 hours and being exhausted, and then you come home and you could have only made $100 from that day, And I've seen a lot of people who work multiple jobs and they're exhausted, but they can only get paid a certain amount, salary-wise, and all those hours you put in doesn't necessarily get you to a millionaire status.
Look, what she said was great, but like I don't remember who it was. It was either this one, I think it was this one, this woman right here. She was talking about, she was like, there's different types of working hard, right? I think the problem with the word working hard is people's misconception of what it means to work hard. Like she said, when she was talking about working hard, she's specifically talking about physically working hard. You know what I'm saying? Which is, yes, you can only get so far physically. But then it sounds like she changed her ways from physical to more of a mental approach. Like she said, strategic is still working hard, because you got to think of a plan that can work. That's not lazy. That is working hard, because then you got to go on your website, and she increased her sales because she was working hard by putting a website together, understanding that the physical wasn't working, and then she switched up her plan, which takes hard work. You may not think of it as hard work, but you could ask 100 people, do you think I worked hard from switching to this to that? And a lot of people may say yeah.
When I was in high school, my parents told me I couldn't get a job, and that was just like, it forced me to look for ways to make money outside of a job. So I did like everything you could think of in the book. Like I resold shoes and jewelry and clothes and Popeye's chicken sandwiches, and like, just anything that you could think. I was doing everything. And then I'd be on YouTube and I'd look at like a social media marketing agency or drop shipping or trading or like whatever it was. And I never really quit because I was like, I have to figure out a way for this to work because I can't get a job. So in a weird way, I've never had a job in my life. I was just kind of thrown into business.
A lot of that stuff sounds like, mental hard work. She's not really working at a job, standing up for hours, but she's on the computer and, technical and things like that.
Why didn't your parents want you to have a job?
Because my sisters, I'm about to expose them here, but they got jobs, and then, like getting a job makes you feel like you have the sense of independence, and so they got super confident, and they were, I don't know, staying out late or like really distracted from school, hanging out more with friends, going out to eat a lot and spending the money. And I think our biggest control that our parents have on us is the financial provisions that they set for us, and they were able to kind of supersede that. So when it came to me, because I was the third daughter, they were like, yeah, Kelly's not happy.
That's so interesting. I was told the same thing. I was told that I couldn't get a job. I was like, I want to work at Cold Stone. And my mom was like, you're young. You should just focus on school. And I wonder if there's a connection between entrepreneurs being told when they're young, like, wait, don't get a job. I mean, your reasoning was different, but my mom was thinking, once you get a job, you're kind of entering into adulthood, and it kind of shifts your mentality of like, I have to get a job, I have to work, and she wanted me to have a little bit more time to decide what I wanted to do. So I wonder if you get a job when you're younger, if that kind of holds you back from chasing your dreams.
You to get you.
I think it sounds like these three had good parents. These ones, not saying they're not good parents, but maybe their parents were struggling a little bit more to where it's like when you look at your parents' path, it kind of, if that's all you see and that's all you're told, it kind of navigates you towards that, like it attracts you that way. If your parents, for example, is telling you this side of what they're telling you, and then you got to find other opportunities, kind of take them. These ones, it seemed like, again, like she said, well, my mom was preschooling, whatever, and they can't afford this, they can't afford that. So then you're just in your mind always thinking about stuff you can't afford, and now I have to get a job,
Used to the pattern. That's a really good.
I was actually the exact same way. My dad's like, you're not allowed to have a job in high school because you need to focus on school. And
something about the millionaire's parents, there's a common tendency. You gotta find the common tendencies.
After high school, you can get a job. So what I did was literally I would make like bracelets and sell them to my classmates, to the point where I got in trouble at school for selling stuff at school. But I still made over like thousands of dollars just doing that, because I'm like, I've always had that business mentality in me, and I've always wanted to do that. So I'm like, all right, if you're not gonna let me work, I'm gonna work at school.
Yeah, I sold in school too. That's crazy.
Did you guys work jobs in high school?
Yeah, I was told as soon as I turned 14, I needed to make my own money.
I got a job at 14.
I was a babysitter. So that is like so crazy to hear. I've never experienced my parents ever telling me to not get a job. It has always been, oh, you're able to get a job, go get one. I started babysitting when I was 14. I started working at a restaurant when I was 16, and then went to college. Now that I'm in college, I work in the recreation department. I also caregive for disabled and elderly people, and so that's my current job. But my mom has always told me that I needed to get a job because I needed to understand the worth of a dollar, because I know a lot of people that their parents provide for them still in college, and they don't understand the worth of a dollar. They will just go and spend their money and do whatever they want, and it's like, whereas like I have to hold myself back from plans, hold myself back from things, because I have to like understand like that I can't be spending it because it's my money. It's not like I need to know because I'm saving up to pay to go to school. Like I have to put my money in certain places, and my mom's always like, well, I applaud you because now you're like financially smart, like you know what money means and like stuff like that. And I've never had a break. When I was a junior and senior in high school, I didn't have a single day of where I didn't either go to school or go to work. Yeah. So that's
mental, emotional, exhausting. But I hope that this lady right here becomes a millionaire and she keeps those habits.
Just where I'm at.
That sounds kind of exhausting.
It is exhausting.
So we're gonna reset.
Hey, before we go any further.
I don't want to hear what you gotta say. That was a good prompt. Very good prompt. Good insights. Ain't nobody cutting each other off. You know, no argument so far or no negativity so far. This is all good.